The National Weather Service has upgraded the severe weather risk for Michigan going into Tuesday night, and today we will take a look at that and see what we could be expecting that night. And this right here is the Day 2 convective outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. And as you can see, most of southern lower Michigan is in a slight risk, or a marginal risk rather, and a little bit in the southwest is in a slight risk. And what this means is a level 2 out of 5 for the risk level. Now, I have been tracking storms for a long time, and a 2 in Michigan usually means that we can expect a decent amount of severe weather, such as hail. We have a 15% chance of up to slightly significant hail, especially in the southwest corner, up towards a little bit towards the middle of the lower peninsula. We have a 5% chance of hail. And then with wind, I don't expect like a windbag event, like a squall line or anything that will knock down trees or power lines, but I do think that some of these storms that could be going through could have some strong winds, and we'll be taking a look at the radar in a moment here. And when it comes to tornadoes, there is a chance of slightly significant tornadoes in the very far south of the lower peninsula in Michigan. I think there is a chance of a spin-up tornado once or twice on Tuesday night. And we'll take a look at where that could be. Multiple models are saying different things. It is 2 days out, technically, and so it is a little hard to predict. But let's take a look at the HRRR. And as you can see here, going into the morning of Tuesday, we could have some pop-up showers in the south part of Michigan. And it will get kind of like some spring, summer showers, like nothing really crazy here. I don't expect too much significant activity. Maybe in the south corner down here as these storms develop. This is 10 p.m. on Tuesday, and these storms here are what we're going to want to worry about a little bit more. This is 11 p.m., so this is a nighttime event. This is Tuesday at 11 p.m., and this will be going into Wednesday morning, probably around 2 a.m. as when things should start calming down. But this is something that you'll want to know about before you go to bed, because there could be some severe activity overnight. But as you can see, this is a very scattered severe weather chance. I don't think this is highly organized, but that means that this storm could have large hail. This one back here could have large hail, so you could be having multiple rounds of severe weather if this, pulls off some stronger weather. And it kind of gets a little messy here as we go into 2 a.m., but down south, definitely still an opportunity for some severe weather. And if we look at the updraft helicity here, it's huge. It is extremely high. So what the updraft helicity is what gives the air spin. What could cause a tornado in some of these storms, and this is up to 650. Now, this is an enormous number. I've seen tornadoes down here at 150 easily, and so 650 is something to be concerned about. Now, why isn't this a higher risk for tornadoes? It is because of the lack of CAPE. As you can see, down south, the CAPE is much higher. That's why the 5% tornado risk comes in here. The 2% is down here. But like you have up to 1,000 below this line, about half, the lower half of the lower peninsula definitely has enough CAPE to develop these storms. And once again, this is midnight on Wednesday or Tuesday night. But there isn't quite enough CAPE to be like, oh yeah, definitely tornadoes here. But there is definitely enough to cause a problem. I think this could be upgraded tomorrow on the Storm Prediction Center. I think we could see a higher risk of tornadoes, maybe the 2% moving up here, perhaps. But in terms of hail, I think definitely the more south side is more likely to get hail, because hail happens when water droplets are raised super high in the sky to the point where they freeze and fall back down. And so if there isn't enough lift in the atmosphere, then you're not going to see as much hail. Another thing is that the shear is extremely high. Honestly, this is the first time I've looked at this model. This is looking a little bit worse than I thought it would be. And I don't want to overstate it, because Michigan is so unpredictable, and many storms that have looked extremely intense do nothing, and many storms that haven't looked so intense have done things like this with the EF3 tornado that went through Union City. In fact, 6 tornadoes came from one supercell that traveled through here in the southern Michigan, and that was pretty unexpected. That was a marginal risk that the Storm Prediction Center gave out. That was the green part here, and we are now peeking into the slight. And so sometimes a marginal risk might drop an EF3 tornado, and an enhanced risk will do nothing. So I don't want to say that all the red on your screen is going to mean a large tornado or anything like that. I think that it's best to be modest with this forecast, but I just want you to be careful and look out on the radar before you go to bed tonight. And here are the temperatures that will be peaking in on Tuesday. So here's the thing. There's this really weird, like, cold line. It's quite interesting, actually, how it works. I believe this is kind of like the lake is obviously cold here, so the air has a hard time reaching up. But this is a perfect representation of the cape, or the fuel in the atmosphere for storms moving north into Michigan. And I think, actually, today's weather, Monday, going into, I think, what, in the 60s today for most of the state. Look at this. We are in the high 60s for most of the state. This is going to heat the ground. This is going to heat a lot of lower Michigan, and it's going to keep that heat into Tuesday. And so I think, cape or no cape, this is going to be a fueled atmosphere for storms moving in. And as you can see, it cools down quite a lot as we go into this storm period. It's really only above 60 in the southern, like the far southern part of the state. In fact, we're reaching into the 30s, even 20s up in the UP. I mean, it's very bipolar in terms of temperature. And so up here, are we going to have as severe weather? It's hard to tell. I think, though, because we'll be having storms moving through here, these storms will get strong here. I think they could track through those 30-degree temperatures and not just dissipate right away. And actually, a lot of times when a strong storm coming from, these high temperatures, high amounts of cape, it collects all that warm air, and then once it hits cold, it drops it all. And so you could have strong downbursts of rain, maybe even some flash flooding, and that increases the chance of hail. You could have hail on lower levels because, look, it's 35 right here in Grand Rapids. I think that we could be seeing more hail just because of this stark difference in temperature. In terms of tornadoes, the cold air here is what makes me think the tornadoes are less likely. Even though we have this extremely strong shear and this super high storm relative helicity, I think this cold air should stabilize the atmosphere just enough to prevent more than one, maybe two tornadoes. If any at all. That's kind of worst case scenario. But I'm just being careful because look what happened in Union City yesterday, or not yesterday, sorry, the 6th. The Grand Rapids National Weather Service says strong to severe thunderstorms are possible Tuesday evening with large hail and an isolated tornado. Oh yeah, and strong winds and locally heavy rain. They're all threats for Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. These are all things that you should be looking out for. And so I don't know. I would keep an eye on your radar before you go to bed. I would maybe tune into the news and see what's going on, see if there are any really strong storms tracking into Michigan. And once again, this is Tuesday night, probably starting around 8 p.m. At the earliest, going till 2 to 4 a.m. And so it's going to change a lot. I would just keep an eye on the news and see what they say. And I might make another video tomorrow, and I hopefully will have some storm footage if I go and see the storm. But yeah, that's about it for today.